And now I want to introduce you to Beth. So some of you may know Beth as our head of marketing, as well as a marketeer. She's also a mentor, supporting people and businesses with heart. And the topic that we're going to be exploring today is one we discussed when she joined, and something she's really kind of seen in the club, as well as people who are running good businesses, that sometimes the selling part, the getting people to kind of actually engage with what you're doing, can be a bit challenging, and a bit of a challenge for people, and sometimes feel a bit icky. So this is obviously kind of key to running your business. So we're like, great, let's do a session and look at that. How can we actually, I love what she's coined, hustle with heart. So over to you, Beth, for the session. I'm going to stop sharing.
Thank you so much, Sarah. Let me just share my screen with you guys. And we'll get hustling, shall we? Definitely want a sound cue here to make it pop. Right, are we all on? Can you all see? Excellent stuff. Thank you for the thumbs up. So welcome everyone to your session on Hustling with Heart. Sarah has introduced me very, very well. And to kind of echo that, I fuse styling, I'm a sustainability stylist, with mentoring and marketing. Now that sounds like quite the cocktail, but for me, what it all has in common is that I represent people and businesses with heart. So for me, that means they're purpose-led. So we're all in the right place here. We're all members of the Good Business Club. We all run our businesses in a purpose-led way. And we'll learn about my approach today and how that all comes together and how you can learn from that to grow your business as well. So what do we mean exactly by hustling, and what do we mean by hustling with heart? For me, it's about having an energy to do business. It's about making things happen and doing it with your inner guidance, doing it in a way that is authentic to you, establishing what authentic to you is in the first place, and being kind and helpful to others. So there are ways that hustling can go very wrong. When it's done from a place of desperation or selfishness or greed, as we all know, because we're not those people, we don't run our businesses that way, it can backfire big time. Deceptiveness will always come to bite you in the ass. And I use a few words like this, so apologies in advance. But I think sneakiness is never sustainable, and that's okay because it doesn't affect any of us here, but you can start to see it in others, and we can stand out through being kind, and we're going to learn today how to do that and how to grow our businesses through it. So hustling simply must come from the heart. It means that you have to care a lot about who you are serving as well, and how you are doing it. When you put somebody else's needs before your own, it automatically creates a strong vibration that will pull people in. So what we'll learn today, we've got an hour to go through how I believe hustle and heart is what sets you apart. It's about making it fun, authentic, and an impactful action, but it's about how and why it's done, and then actually doing it. In an hour today, we'll cover what separates us from the rest, how exactly to do that, why being nice is an advantage, how helpfulness and kindness goes a long way to grow your business and have a significant impact on the world, and a few practical tips for growing your business, your network, and your confidence along with it. So buckle up. Right, let's get started. Now, hydrate your hustle. What do I mean by that? Hydrating your hustle is key to accomplishing the goals that you have in your professional life. Giving yourself permission to work on yourself and dedicate time to you will help you serve others more effectively. And it might be quite an easy thing to state, but we don't do it often enough. Even I don't. I mean, Sarah, for instance, told me to do exactly that this week. So this is about unapologetically giving ourselves permission to spend time on ourselves. You know what it's like when you run your own business. It's all on your shoulders. Everything falls in your lap. It's up to you. So if our reserves are empty, business doesn't go so well. Think about the days when you feel replenished, things are going good for you, you feel confident, you feel motivated, business gets done. On the days where it doesn't feel that way, not so good. So we're going to start with looking after number one. And this, I hope, gently eases you into the session and gives you a much needed boost. Let's face it, I think we all need that right now. So how do I do it? How can I recommend you do it? Dedicate creative time. Creative time allows your mind to wander, and you don't have to be a creative person to get creative and feel the benefits of being in that zone. So if I talk about how I spend my creative time for hopeful inspiration to you all, it consists of journaling, reading, listening to music, massive game changer. If I'm feeling a bit flat, Robin Schulz comes on. So that's like funky house for those who know. And it really gets me going and motivates me. So find out what motivates you. I love a visual pin board. It helps me kind of design and focus on my goals and dreams. And I love imagination-based play with my 2 kids as well. There's nothing like rolling around the floor as a ninja to kickstart your motivation again. I can promise you that. So dedicate creative time. Keep your mind fresh and your motivation high, and do that unapologetically. Schedule time for it. If you run a calendar like I do, schedule it. There's no excuse, not when you give yourself permission. Read backstories. I'm obsessed with reading backstories about successful entrepreneurs. It helps me understand how they became successful and what success means to them, but also, importantly for me, the obstacles that they faced and how they overcame them. I love learning from others. I have this cheesy expression, because I love a bit of cheese: every day's a school day. So I never stop learning, never stop opening my mind to possibility, and actually learning from others lifts me up. So it doesn't have to be someone famous, although thanks to Sarah Rudder, who I know is on the call, she recommended one of my current inspirations, who's Brené Brown. So I'm sure you've all discovered her. If you haven't, please, she's a game changer. But on a local level, I'm also inspired by Lisa Shabbers, and all the resources that I mentioned today will be shared in Slack afterwards, so you don't have to worry about writing everything down. Lisa Shabbers is an ex-Marine, and she's lived a life that I think only some of us can begin to imagine. She has faced an awful lot of challenges, and last autumn I experienced an ice bath with her. So she teaches you how to breathe, and she teaches you to literally plunge yourself into a bathtub of ice outside in the cold on Brighton Beach in front of Box Sauna. So I not only learned how to breathe and how the power of breath can affect your state of mind, physically, internally, everything, but also the power of mind over matter and cold water therapy. So I will share a link to Lisa. She's a powerful warrior. Warrior suits her, I'm using the right word. And by drawing inspiration from others and learning about what they went through and how it might inspire your path is a powerful tool. So read backstories. And finally, have fun. I know it sounds flippant, but these things are perceived so far as fluffy and nice, but they're incredibly powerful. So I'm one of many, I'm sure, especially in this group, that's looking to change the perception of that. It might feel pretty challenging, hands up, to have fun right now in the current restrictions, but you can create fun. And why is it so important? Fun is the best tonic. There's not much it can't solve. And since hustling is about energy to make things happen, your stocks need to be high. So as an example, again, I recently had a carpet picnic with my 2 kids. I put them in charge. I said, you can choose the food. So you can imagine how that went. We had a bowl of Haribo, we had a pizza and a giant sponge cake for dinner. And that's all right. And you know what? I absolutely loved it. How often do we adults do that? I mean, if you do, I'll take a leaf out of your book, but it was absolutely incredible and so much fun. Replenish by having fun. So my point here is that there has to be room in your life for fun. I don't think anyone can be an effective hustler if they aren't having any fun doing it, especially in life at large. So we're going to move on now to why being kind is not just good for the world, but it's good for your business. How can we use kindness to grow our businesses? You will know your purpose. You're members of the Good Business Club. You'll have found this, you're running your whole business on it, but you know what? You're also human, and we're facing a heck of a lot of challenges right now. And anyway, without a pandemic, people forget their purpose. Their path changes, things come in, we're learning all the time. It never stops. Your purpose can often be put to the side. It doesn't mean you're not a purpose-led business. It just means you need to get back in touch with why you're doing what you do. So what's the reason? And you might want to write this down. What is the core reason you do what you do? The core reason, distill it down. Think about the whole point of why you set up your business. Go back to that first thought. Try and think all the way back. Spend some time doing this, even now or in your own time. Why do you do what you do? Why do you get out of bed in the morning? What makes you get out of bed? It's not your kids, it's not your coffee, all right, it is, but that's not what I'm talking about. It's the reason you're doing this business. Why are you not in a comfortable job getting a regular pay packet? Why are you working for yourself? All these things. Use this to power your offering, your vision, and your everyday drive. It's your driver. Write down your purpose and pin it somewhere visible. So somewhere you'll see it every day. It could be on your fridge, it could be on the wall above your desk. I often create things in Canva and save it as a screensaver on my locked phone screen. That way, every time I pick it up, it's there. So have this visual reminder of your purpose, and it will lock in, and it will become synonymous with what you do and how you do it. But more on that later. Next tip is to offer your help, but be specific. Make it easy for people that you want to do business with to understand your value by telling them how you can help. So I just want a quick show of hands at this point. From either a professional or personal point of view, hands up who's had an email, a message, or a conversation with anybody where they've said to you, is there any way I can help? Is there any way I can help? Yeah, I'm sure at some point we've all had somebody say, is there any way I can help? Can I help at all? Now, another show of hands who has brushed off that offer of help because you couldn't exactly think how they actually could help you. Or maybe you didn't want to ask, well, wait a minute, how can you actually help? Or you felt maybe accepting that offer of help was more effort than it was worth because you just couldn't decipher how it would actually work. So hands up who turned it down in some way for those reasons. Yeah, there's still quite a few of us. I'll tell you why. It's because when somebody offers their very general way of help, like, can I help you in any way? It actually isn't very helpful. It makes the person you're offering to help have to work harder to figure out if they need you. And they may not even know what you're good at. You may not even know what you're good at. And that's cool. It's fine. You're definitely not alone. But that's what you need to establish. What are you good at? It links back to the purpose work I've just taken you through. What are you good at? Then tell them. So to be of service in the best way, you've got to offer something very specific. This is how I can help you. This is how I show up in the world being of service. When you do that, people notice. You make it easy for them. Next, use what you already know. Kindness is strong. I referenced it earlier. It's not pink and fluffy. And at this point, I want to draw your attention to Mary Portas. Some of you may or may not have heard of her. She's quite the powerhouse, and she's just launched a concept called the kindness economy. Again, I'll share the resource. You search the kindness economy and her TED Talks come up, her podcast comes up. Recently, she shared that Unilever joined the Living Wage mission. She's making waves and she's connecting people who are just like we do here at the Good Business Club. So alongside us, she's leading the charge with this. And I want to read this out to you because she's not only decided to put kindness and people first, she's restructured her entire agency around the values that would free everyone to be their most authentic selves and bring them their whole selves to work. It's this point that she realized kindness is actually a strength, and a foundation to grow her business on through the values that she perceives as effective: integrity, longevity, commerciality. She's able to grow business based on those truths. She gets the best out of people this way, by being and spreading kind. So this I'm going to read out to you. As we move away from a time of rabid consumerism and peak stuff, I believe we're entering a new type of economy. One built on kindness and a triple bottom line: people, planet, and profit, in that order. And businesses who organise themselves around this kind of way of behaving will be the ones that win. Well, how exciting is that for us? Because we're leading the charge on that. So I'll be in touch with Mary, Sarah, don't worry. But we're already winning. So it's important to know that the way you do business, the way you're already doing business, and what you believe in, you're leading the pack already. Weave this in to your purpose, weave this into your specific offer of help, and tell your target market about it. Sounds simple, and it is simple. It's a very simple formula, but do the work to understand how you stand out in this way and how you can specifically help people, and they'll want to do business with you. So let's extend that way of thinking into how to grow your business and your confidence and network along with it. So I think about, as I continue to grow in the business world and the offering of styling and mentoring and marketing and that wonderful mix that I really love, I get a stronger network as I do, based on people helping one another. Essentially, that's what drives me. I love to help businesses and people shine. That's how I show up for people. What does shining mean to you? How can I help? How can I specifically help? So I firmly believe, as my network grows, that your network is your net worth. Again, good news for us. We've got one right here. But it's an old expression: fish where the fish are. Find out where your target market lies. Where do they hang out? Where do they share messages? Where do they ask for help? Where do they consume information? What kind of sites do they read? Where are they? Where can you find them? And then become a part of it. But we'll move into that in a second. So having a strong network allows you to meet more new people and opens up a resource pool. It's giving you access to people that might fill your skill gaps or your acumen, or even give you time and take the pressure off. So it's all there for the taking. And after all, you can't do everything. You can't do it all, at least not well. But you know what? You shouldn't be expected to, and you certainly shouldn't put the pressure on yourself to either. So how are we going to do this? We rise by lifting others. That is one of my favorite expressions. When I help other people and I feel better myself, and I know that we'll all share something very similar because of the way we do business. So connect and collaborate, be helpful to people. How do we do it? Well, find out where your fish are. And even if you're not the specialist who can help them, maybe you can be helpful by recommending somebody who is. So no, okay, this won't give you immediate business, but if you're in business for the long haul, this will absolutely pay dividends in time. When you serve selflessly, you're positioning yourself as a generous, kind, unpushy presence. And that's the kind of reputation not only that this world needs, but that pulls people towards you. You're saying, hi, I'm helpful, I'm a connector, I can help you. And to quote one of my most favourite poets of all time, Maya Angelou, I've learned that people will forget what you said, they'll forget what you did, but people will never forget how you made them feel. So being helpful and being selfless and connecting people, even if it isn't about you and what you can offer, will position yourself as this person, this presence who is helpful and is there for people. And they'll remember how that made them feel, and you'll start to pull people toward you, I guarantee. But how do we effectively use that even further for growing our business? We pitch our services. Again, really simple, but not in the same way, in the same space too often. What do I mean by that? Let me be clear. I'm not saying don't pitch your services or post a free call on social media. You absolutely should do that. Mentioning your services and offers on social media is a great way to be of service, but you can do it in reasonable doses. So if your Twitter feed is buy now, sign up to this, follow X, Y, and Z, it's not effective. It's not a turn on to your clients or your prospects, because no one likes the sound of a broken record. Nobody listens to it. So mix it up, weave in the purpose work and the specific offer of help. Think about what you're brilliant at and share that. But don't forget the helpful bit. Can you recommend other people? Can you shout about other people's success? Maybe one of those success stories that you might read now could be something, a pearl of wisdom that you share. Offer value, be helpful, be kind. This will help you pitch your services, but like I say, at the right time, in the right doses. So just break it up a little bit and remember the whole broken record thing. Nobody likes to listen to them. So let's think about establishing why we think we're original. We're going to do a bit of an exercise now to break this up. Something I do is I list my weekly accomplishments. Sometimes I fall back and I don't manage to do it on a week, and that's okay too. But I have a Google sheet, love a Google sheet, and I list my weekly achievements. If I'm in the frame of mind or have the space and time to do it, I'll do it at the end of the day so I remember it. But by the end of the week, I've got a list of achievements and accomplishments. And this isn't always from me and what I think I've achieved. It's feedback from other people as well. That could be clients, it could be friends, it could be family. Whatever it is, it's an accomplishment. So long as you class it as an accomplishment, make a record of it. As entrepreneurs, you're constantly on the go. You likely achieve more in a day than most people do in a week. But with that comes pressure, right? So you get out what you put in, and I mentioned it earlier, but it's a blessing and a curse when you run your own business or you work for yourself, isn't it? You get out what you put in. So if you go full whammy, full throttle hustle, you reap the benefits. If you're feeling a bit flat and you're not getting much done, it most likely shows. So this is a way to, I guess, provide vital vitamins to your hustle. It's a way to fuel your motivation, and actually it could even turn into opportunities for content, because you'll start to notice pattern and themes in the ways that you're brilliant and the ways that you are accomplished. And because it doesn't just come from your mind, it's coming from feedback and others, you'll start to spot patterns and trends in what you're brilliant at. And this is your superpower. This is what you tell others about. This is what you share. But I'm just going to give you 2 minutes breather to start listing accomplishments so far this week. So we're on hump day. What have you done this week? Feel free to turn your camera off if you want some space and privacy to do so. But I will work with Sarah to time 2 minutes from now. Okay, we'll draw it to a close. So back in the room, is there anyone, doesn't matter if not, but is there anyone that might be willing to share some of their accomplishments?
I kind of shared one accidentally. So I'm currently on maternity, so I kind of put getting dressed and getting through the day. But then from a work point of view, introducing a client to a networking contact to kind of benefit them. It's a bit of both.
Good wins. Is there any like threads that you can see in that? You can take it away if you can't straight away, of course. Have a think about the patterns that you see there. So maybe pick out some key words and think about what they represent. Is it helping others? Is it like survival? Is it something more? Try to look across your accomplishments and see what threads there are, because we'll eke those out in a second. Is there anyone who's willing to share? Well done, by the way, Vicky. I mean, awesome work. Yeah. Sometimes when I get out of bed and I just make sure the kids are fed and dressed, I'm like, accomplishment right there. So anyone else who's willing to talk about how it feels right in your list of accomplishments?
Yeah. Yeah, so I'm feeling particularly overwhelmed with stuff. Just like I'm just barely keeping up with all the things I need to do, but I keep pulling them off, but it doesn't feel very comfortable. So kind of writing this list is great, and just rather than it just being about the next thing all the time, actually just being noting. And I know it always feels better when I have that little bit of space, when I allow myself that bit of space to notice, as part of my reflective practice or whatever. But that's really ambitious at the moment. So I think what you were saying about doing it kind of at the end of the day, or just a point in the day where you can just kind of notice and just write it down in a place that's kind of special for it, will make a huge difference, because it does just shows how much we all do, doesn't it?
It does. We all rock. I mean, just putting one foot in front of another right now is an accomplishment, I think. So if there's anything else on top of that, awesome. If there's not, that's also cool, because it might not necessarily feel like the time to thrive at the moment. I think it's the time to survive for a lot of people. And that is an accomplishment. Of course it is. So yeah, I think regularly doing it, and thank you for sharing, everybody, is very powerful. I mean, not just to keep you motivated and remind yourself why you're doing what you're doing and all that purpose work, but it does help you to pick out common threads in how you help others feel as well, and how you feel about yourself, of course, how you show up for others. Because like Vicky's example, she listed some accomplishments and how she shows up for others. That is starting to shape something that you're brilliant at. When you're writing it, also notice about how you feel about it, which is why I asked that question, because when you read over an accomplishment, did it fizzle a little bit? Did it make the corners of your mouth turn up? Did it light your soul on fire? These things you should notice about yourself when you're writing your list of accomplishments, because all that's your superpower. That's your niche. That's what you use to position yourself and sell yourself to others to grow your business. So it's a really lovely exercise for so many different reasons. Let's go back to the main slide. The final point on this section before we start to draw to a close, and that I really want to share a Q&A time with you and be there for you and base the rest of the session on your needs specifically, is to establish a way of ensuring that you're front of mind. And I say, don't work for free, but freely share your wisdom. So nobody should ever work for free. Please do away with that if you're still doing it. It never works. It never pays off. And often when you're a small business and you work for yourself and you get the promise of exposure or collaboration or whatever the promise might be, don't do it. You don't have to. You're running a business. Please don't forget that. So that's your telling off done. But seriously, when someone posts a question about marketing, let's say, the expert who replies with useful information, offering their knowledge in a public form, is likely to build trust among others who are watching. So simply by sharing something with an opinion that matches your purpose and your specific offer for help. Here are some tips to a blog post I wrote, or hey, I heard so-and-so talk about that. You might want to check out this resource. The energy shifts instantly. The expert is being of service, a very clear offer of service, and showing that they know what they're talking about. Again, a simple formula, but we're quite shy about it generally. Onlookers immediately think, wow, that was really helpful. He or she must be really good at what they do. And the next time they're looking for marketing, guess who's front of mind? So get in on the conversation, have an opinion, establish what that opinion is and the style of it through the purpose work and the offer of specific help. And this is why you're different. It's establishing your services in a way of standing out from the competition by saying, this is me, this is how I do things, this is how I can specifically help you. So this is why you should choose me over anybody else. Don't be shy about it. You're doing business. You're doing good business. So this is motivation. And don't feel shy about it because you are helping others. But we'll talk a little bit about authenticity when I wrap up. So to recap, I talked about hydrating your hustle. This is my favorite bit because you need to look after number one, and you need to be and feel inspired, which hopefully I've done a little bit of for you today. And don't forget to replenish your stocks by having fun. No matter how small, schedule the time in, because you can't hustle with heart and not have fun doing it. It's not going to be effective unless you do. Then we talked about using what you already know, that kindness is a strength. Find your purpose. If you have found it already, just remind yourself of it and stick it somewhere visible. Telling people how you can help and being very specific rather than saying, how can I? No, you tell them how you can. That's going to make a big difference. But remain authentic, because if you are shy about it, and as Sarah said at the start, if it feels a bit icky selling yourself and your business, just do it with authenticity. So it's relating it back to that purpose, why you do what you do, why you get out of bed in the morning, how you help others, know that, remind yourself of it, keep it somewhere visible, and it'll follow through everything that you do. And then finally, grow selflessly. So connect and collaborate with people. If you're not the person who can help, then connect them with somebody that is. Collaborate with others, work in a collaborative way. How can you help each other? You'll leave an impression and pull people towards you by putting yourself forward as the person who puts their needs first. It will pay dividends. After all, if you offer a service to somebody, it really is about what they need. And that should always come first. Pitch your services. Let's not forget, you're running a business. It's okay to make a profit and be purpose-led. You're doing business. We're humans. We have lives to afford and bills to pay. And of course, we want to make a profit. But like Mary Porter said, it can be about profit, but also planet and people. Planet, people, people, planet, profit, in that order. So pitch your services, but remember not to do it in the same way, in the same place. So just break it up a little bit. Don't sound like a broken record. Think about what you're saying when you're saying it and how frequently. And finally, share your wisdom. So don't work for free, but give up your advice and your freedom. Give up your freedom. I love that. Don't do that. Give up your opinion quite freely. So it positions yourself as a thought leader, essentially. That's the long story short. You're showing up in that space, in the space that you've identified your prospects are, or your clients live, where they hang out. Find that first of all, and then show up for them. Be helpful, be informative, be knowledgeable, position yourself as a thought leader, and it will pay dividends. So my final word really is, when you're looking to stand out in a crowded market or in the din of social, proving that you're helpful, knowledgeable, and kind is absolutely the simplest way to attract people to you. this is hustling with heart. So being of service is so much more than being paid to help a person and change their life. That's enough. But it's a multi-dimensional way of life that you need to embody. It's, you know, the whole reason why we do what we do, not only for our clients, but for the rest of the world. We're making waves here. And I hope you don't forget it, because you're all here for the same reason. You're all purpose-led businesses. And don't forget what one of the leading marketers in the world, Mary Portas, has said, we're already winning. So thanks, everyone. I hope that is giving you some inspiration to start hustling with heart. And now I open it over to you guys. Let's have a chat. I'll just stop sharing my screen so I can see everybody. Back in the room. So, shall we go through the chat? Is that the best way to do it, Sarah?
Yeah, I think I didn't see anything come up in the chat, so I guess it's open to everyone wants to come off mute, really. And if there's anything, you want to ask Beth a bit more. I've also got a question, so if no one else jumps in, I'll go in a second.
I love that. Freely share your wisdom. I'm being quoted, but don't quote me on giving up your freedom, will you? That's my favourite. Has anyone got any questions, like anything I've mentioned today? First of all, maybe let's start there, that you want more information on.
So I'll jump in. So one thing, and I think things will stand out based on probably more where your weaknesses are and that kind of thing. And I think something that's really interesting of what you shared around, you know, the whole generosity of giving your opinions and your insights. How do you figure out what is enough to give, and when you're giving too much and it should be something that is a service that you get people to pay for? Like that, I think can be quite tricky, because I think you're right, giving is important, but I think when you're someone who gives a lot, I think you probably end up giving loads more rather than too little. So have you got anything to kind of note towards that?
Yeah, because being helpful, as with everything, should have its limits, and you need to set boundaries. So it's a really good idea to, before you offer your help and you start carving out specifically how you can help, know your limit. So say, have a mission to hook people in. So I'm going to offer this help, but what kind of action am I looking for that person to take? So the example that I gave where we said, hey, this is the help I'm offering you, go and have a look at these tips on the blog post I wrote. You're actually directing people to your website. You're directing them to a resource. You're, for want of a better phrase, hooking them in. But you're doing it authentically, because you've freely given them something of value. It's education, it's helpful, it's kind, but again, don't forget you're running a business. So first of all, yes, think about how you can be helpful and educational and knowledgeable, but what are you going to do to direct them back to your business? And then set boundaries, because it's not all about helping and helping and helping and not getting anywhere. Of course, we want something back. Any relationship, especially a working one, it is two-way. So think in your mind when you're planning of taking the next sort of step out into the world to offer your help and be kind. How can this maybe grow my business? So is the person you're recommending help to a prospect, or do they know somebody that you're looking for? And there's absolutely nothing wrong with saying, I've got this blog post that you might find really helpful. And actually, while I've got you, I'm looking for this. Can you help? It's a scratch each other's back scenario. So that might work for you as an approach. So I'd say think about your boundaries, think about your limits, give freely, but not all the time. Always think about what your end goal is as well, because that's how you'll protect yourself, but that's also how you'll start to continue to do good business. Anyone else? Andrea.
I love this, Beth, and your energy is brilliant. So it's great
this afternoon to kind of just remind, to replenish and rehydrate.
Oh, we need it, right?
Yeah, I was really curious, like what works for you on the joining in conversation? So Instagram really works for me. I like hanging out there. It's a natural place. LinkedIn, I'm a bit sort of skeptical of, but that thought leadership, where do you hang out that helps you to join in the conversation, apart from the Good Business Club, of course?
Of course. It's where I feel comfortable. So that's for me, that's my boundary, like where do I feel comfortable? But also, again, where are my clients, where are my prospects? So it's a fusion of where I feel good, because again, that's important, starting with number one. But again, we're doing business, so you always have to sort of meet those two things and fuse them to find your perfect solution. So I'm comfortable on Instagram as well. I'm a visual person, I'm very creative. I feel like that generally is a visual positive space. Lucky for me, it also happens to be the main platform where my prospects hang out. But then if it's not, you need to know that as a business leader. So where are they? Where are your clients? If you're working with people at the moment, ask them. Just ask them. Just say, you know, where do you have conversations? If you're looking for business or skills, or you need somebody to help you, where do you post it? So always go to the horse's mouth. A lot of people overlook that, you know, they think they can't ask, but we're all people, we're all human. Just reach out to them. So yeah, start to fish where the fish are if you're not already, but look after yourself as well, because you'll thrive there, you'll shine naturally, and that's going to help you do business too. I'd recommend Instagram if you're not on it. I'm not paid by any of these platforms. Obviously, we're already on the Good Business Club. I am starting to get into Clubhouse. I don't know if any of you have heard of that.
Oh. Yeah, what is it? What is it, Beth? I've heard about it. Is it invitation only?
It is. I can invite you if you wish.
Oh yeah, do. In the club.
Yeah, exactly. It's creating clubs, virtual clubs. So there's spaces and rooms where you can have chats based on topics. This would be a club, for instance, right now. There's a lot of skill swapping, education swapping. It's the perfect platform to position yourself as a thought leader and have that ideal balance between being helpful and getting something in return, doing business. So yeah, check out Clubhouse, because that's the latest thing. I think I get one invite, I'm afraid, so Andrea got in there first. But there's a lot of Facebook groups that I frequent. So it's obvious, I've talked about my kids a couple of times. I'm a mum. I'm on a Facebook group called Mums in Marketing. So it does what it says in the tin. Now, we help each other out a lot. We post jobs on there. We swap tips. And we also swap Clubhouse invitations. So if any of you are struggling, then I can definitely put you forward there, or you can even join it. So I would recommend finding, I don't like the expression tribe, but I'm going to use it here for argument's sake. Find your tribe. And, you know, it's the whole sort of find that your people and where they hang out, and hang out with them. So where are the virtual spaces that they hang out in? And again, if you don't know, ask. You don't have to spend hours on the internet figuring it out. Just ask. People love it. It's conversational. Anyone else? Is it coffee time?
I guess I don't know how to word my question. I think because I'm employed for a company, but I still feel I've got like a personal purpose within my role at the company. So I guess it's how does that still work, that you're kind of pushing that company via my personal led purpose without kind of having purposes for all the other individuals within the business? Like, I don't know if that makes any sense, but it
yeah. I work with a lot of businesses that have exactly the same challenges. So they say to me, I'm running all the social media and the content, and I know why it's important to me, but I get confused with why it's important to the business. And so when they speak, it's them, it's not the business. And that presents a problem, because then you also have inconsistency in the messaging. So I would say do the exercises that I've mentioned in this deck, and you will get these slides. Do it for you, because it's what gets you out of bed in the morning. If you're driving the marketing, as I know you are, you need to know what drives you, because that's going to put some zest in any work that you do. So I'd say do it for you first of all, but then if you've not done it already, do it as a separate exercise for the business. And then you can find, having done the work that you know what is important to you and gets you out of bed in the morning, how you can relate those drivers to the work that you do for the business. So you're like, right, I find it important, it drives me to connect with people, I love helping people, I love showing up for people in these ways. And then you apply that to the purpose of the business. And I would imagine that they've got brand guidelines, they've got purpose and values and their pillars of the way they conduct the business and their mission statement. We all forget those things, in all honesty, so dig them out. Remind yourself, have the conversations if it's not something you've already done, and then connect your purpose with theirs.